now coming in. I'm Jeremy Lee and I play Asuna and started out online.
I'm Bryce Adam, rookie on Kitty
Thank you.
And we're still like folks here. I mean, why don't we just keep
Yeah,
talking?
we'll just keep answering questions and then we can like repeat and hopefully we can stay a couple more minutes later and hang out.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you said there was a double of me, I guess, earlier?
Yes,
I
yes.
have yet to find him.
Okay, we gotta search the.
There's a doppelganger on
there's-
there?
I guess.
There's a couple, because I saw it and I was like, I think I've met you before today. And he's like, no, there's like 4 Wills here. There's like 5 Nicks. And like 6 Matthews. And it's funny because like 3 of them look very similar. But he has somebody, so I told him he either needs to kill them or make them an evil twin. But for the other one that's his doppelganger, I mean, you deal with it your own way.
So it's a free. So it's a free.
It's a free-for-all. It's a
Yeah,
battle.
all right.
Fight to the death.
I have 2 questions. When you guys were auditioning, were you auditioning for multiple roles or just one in general?
I auditioned for multiple. I don't know about you, but I auditioned for 3.
Okay. And
They only sent me 1 role to read for. I only have 1 shot on this one. I don't know if they thought of me for the role. I mean, I know a lot of people read for the part, but I only got 1 shot.
Did you also go back for a callback, or did you just send in the MP3 and that was it?
I MP3s got cast.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because for this show, I got paranoid because normally when I go into Funimation, we don't send in MP3s, we go into audition at the studio. And we go in and audition 1 time, and we can pick 2 or 3 roles. And sometimes they'll say, read specifically for this role. And that's it. Like, normally you find out in like 3 to 5 days if you got cast and if you're the lead role, you're recording 10 to 6, like a full day immediately. But for this show, I auditioned for Asuna, Elizabeth, and Yulie, which was weird. And then they called me probably a week later, and I was like, well, I didn't hear anything, I didn't book it. And then they called me a week later and asked me to come back in for a callback. And I went and read again for all 3 with Hidaway, the producer, and with Alex, the director. And then there were a couple other girls that were in the waiting room right after to go on an audition. And I think I might have had another callback, which was weird that I had callbacks for VO, because that doesn't always happen. Normally they just cast off of an MP3. But I have had for other series, animated series for other projects that they'll call me back in and they'll have me read with like 3 or 4 other voices because they want to see if we can ad-lib off of each other. But there wasn't anybody else in the booth, it was just me reading the same scene. So it was interesting.
my second question was, if you're not pressed for time, can I take a picture after the panel?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Should we do like a back and forth? Because we do have a second
Oh,
mic
yeah.
over here. Even though you're not. You got the jump on everybody.
Okay, this one goes for Kitaro. Would you go for Asuna or Lifa?
For Asuna or Lifa? Well, is Lifa my sister? My guess. My cousin, yes, my cousin. So Asuna.
You live in close quarters though. She's kind of
Yeah,
like your sister.
she's like a sister. I mean, she's like a first cousin, right?
I was gonna say, like, choose wisely, because there are some things that happen later on in the show. Like, all the women be like, wow, glad to see that meant a lot to you. Anyhow.
Well, and considering Asuna is sitting right next to me.
Yeah. Right here.
Those little hands can
Oh, God.
slap really hard.
I was like groping her. I'm sorry. My bad.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay. Are there any anime series that you've watched that you haven't worked on that you really enjoy?
Like way in the past or currently?
Currently, in the past, anytime.
I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z. Such And right now, I'm actually watching Attack on Titan. It's really, really good. It's a really good show.
All right, Sarah.
I loved Sailor Moon. And I also, like, currently, I know it's not an anime show, but I love My Little Pony. And if I got called to audition for My Little Pony, I would first cry, and then second of all, like, work myself into an anxiety attack to even prepare for the audition, and then pray to the voice acting gods to just be able to play even a butterfly or something. Just to work in that, like, universe would be cool. And then what was the other one that I was thinking of? I don't know, I'll think of it later. But those are like two of the main ones that I'm like, oh, please, let me be a pony. Mommy, when I grow up, I want to be a pony. I don't want a pony, I just want to be a pony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, hey there. When I read manga, I have this certain voice in my head for each character. I mean, everybody does. And then, quite commonly, I'm sure with just about everybody, you watch the anime and think, that is not the voice I imagined for that character at all. Have you ever watched an anime and thought, hey, that someone else could have done a better job, you could have done a better job, or just felt this voice did not match at all?
I mean, I might think that, but my opinion doesn't matter. Other people have a vision of what the voice should be, and there's a reason I feel that those actors are playing those particular roles. Maybe they do something really, really well, and maybe they don't do everything perfect for that character, but maybe something clicked. Someone must have seen something to cast them in that role. So I might think that, but my opinion doesn't matter.
I've looked at, like, the grand scheme of, like, casting and things like that, and when I might, like, look at a show and be like, man, I would love to work on the show, and then when I don't get cast, I'm like, why didn't I get cast? I thought I did really well for that audition, I really loved it, like, I felt like I really connected with that character, but then I hear all of the voices together, and I'm like, my voice had no place in that cast, like, it just wouldn't have fit. It competed too much with somebody else, it was too similar, or just as a whole, that group was amazing together. And the example that I always use, and hang with me before you, like, go, what? Whatever, everybody gets all mad. I'm like the cast of Twilight. Settle down. Okay.
We're settled.
The cast of Twilight, individually, they're not that bright. Together, now, like, in certain projects, they're really good in certain projects. Kristen Stewart in The Runaways, that was a really great movie for her. But, like, as a whole, in that film, if you would have put anybody else in any of those roles, they would have stuck out. One actress would have been, like, really great, or the actor would have been really great. But, like, together, they all make sense, and they complement each other, and they made a whole lot of money, and they sold a lot of t-shirts, and they're really pretty. So, they're all the same height. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, if anybody else got in those roles, it would have just been awkward, and it wouldn't have worked as much as it worked. And for, like, dubbing and stuff like that, we are working with adapting from a Japanese, so oftentimes the Japanese client has a say. Sometimes they don't, sometimes they do. And sometimes the Japanese client will listen and say, this person sounds exactly like the character, but I don't really like that there's, like, a seductive nature to their voice. Because I had a director that I went in and read, who was like, I'm going to cast her for this super seductive character. And I was like, no. I can't do that. I just can't. Colleen Blinkenbeard does that really well. You should call her. He was like, no. We want it to sound, like, really cute, like she's, like, 5 or 6. And I was like, it was so awkward. We had to find a way for the English director and the Japanese director to make it, like, sound legal and make everybody happy. But I'm sure a lot of people listened to that and were like, that's not what I heard in my head when that character was played, but we had to appease both cultural standards, and sometimes there has to be a balance. Otherwise people feel really uncomfortable.
I'd imagine you run into a lot of situations where you can only help can't help but respect the people that did what they did and the way that they portrayed their role.
Yeah, totally. Just like Twilight.
Debatable, but thank you.
I mean, the guy, Taylor Lautner, had to work out a lot to pull that off. And probably not eat a lot of ice cream. For that, dude, I respect you. And if I meet you, I'll buy you a cupcake in celebration of your sacrifice.
Hey, you can wave.
How's it going?
Thanks. I hope you'll put up with me because I got a 3-part question for y'all.
Okay.
Okay, first, prior to auditioning for your respective roles in Sawyer Online, were either of you familiar with the franchise in any way, shape, or form?
Yes. I'd watched the entire series of Japanese and
Wait, prior to auditioning or recording?
Prior to auditioning,
I heard of the show. I hadn't watched the entire show, but I'd heard of it and kind of caught wind of how cool it was.
alright. Okay, second question. Kirito versus Rin Okamura, Asuna versus Shauna. Who'd win?
Wait, inside the video game or for mine, inside the game or not inside the game? Because that's the determining factor.
Both scenarios.
Okay, inside the game, Kirito, because he's a god in the game. And outside the game, Rin, because he'll light Kirito on fire and win 10 seconds. And then start a dance battle.
I think it's a very similar situation for Asuna and Shauna. I think Shauna would be totally confused by the game, and she just would be like over it. So I think she'd lose in the game. I think she would probably win outside the universe. Oh, that's a spoiler. So I can't answer that way. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go with that. Outside of the game.
Alright. And the third and final one. I'm going to feel really terrible for this, but I'm going to take one for the team. Are either of you familiar with chapter 16.5 of the original novel?
16 and a half.
Half-shaped chapter?
Now, I've heard of what happens. And it's not in the anime.
If you're gonna ask me the question, you can't be like, don't
Let's see
look
what
at
Google
it.
said about it.
I said they had YouTube.
I just pulled up something and it says, can someone give me a link to chapter 16.5?
Someone tried to find it.
I just want the pictures, not the text. Yes, found it.
Definitely not making
Wait,
it
so is this written from Kirito's perspective?
Yes, it is.
Even better. And it's not a Default Plus panel, so it won't be reading chapter 16.5 today.
You know that at one of the conventions that we go to in the future together, they're gonna be like, so 18 plus 5, 18 plus 5. You must be 18
must.
plus 5 to be in the 16.5 reading.
We'll save that for a panel in the future.
You guys should have just called it 50 Shades of SAO.
Well, now we know.
So you guys probably will do a reading of it in the future.
What?
So you guys probably will do a reading of it in the future.
You started. I will certainly not end up online. We'll just put it that way. Hold on a second. So you didn't want us to see it, but you want it to be online? How much sense does that make, friends? One of these things does not work without the other.
I'm still reading it. You can't put it down.
I just can't even.
Skip to the very end.
We're gonna have to read this to really enjoy it. We can't just go skip to the end. That's no
No,
fun.
you gotta get your plush toy and click that. That'll be what's online. It'll just be the two plush toys. It'll be the most uncomfortable thing in the world. Whew, okay. Well, now we know what 16.5 is.
Yeah, stay away from 16.5. In fact.
But I know, if we ever posted a link of it, you would be the person sharing it with everybody. Yes?
Oh, that's profiling.
Every single one of you said don't look at it, and then every single one of you were like, post it online. It's always the person that says like, oh, I've never seen it, and then they're the ones that are sharing it the most. Am I wrong? That's all I'm saying. Like I hate those happy cats, and then you look at their Facebook and it's all happy cats. Oh gosh, cat.
I love 50 Shades of Sword Art Online.
That's the title of the panel. We have two conventions together, right?
We'll see what
That'll be before we watch Sword Art Online at 2 a.m. It's leading up to 2 a.m. as we read 16.5. Whew.
Well, thanks for putting up with me, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for opening the door to 16.5. I didn't know.
My turn, right? All right.
It's your turn, yes.
Okay. All right. So I have 3 questions, but they're not going to be as disturbing as that one, you know. But I gotta take another one for the team as well. But that's the last one.
Okay.
So my first question is this. I've been mentioning to ask this to every voice actor. Well, it did come to me to today. But when you guys go for audition and you guys get the concept for the character and all, do you guys, after you've done like the first episode or work with it for 5 minutes, do you guys feel like a bond with the character, like that's like a piece of you, like do you have any like relations with it? And for example, like, oh, I remember, back in the day I used to be like that, or have anything in common with the character or anything when you guys do your auditions?
Absolutely. I mean, even when I do an audition and I just read the sides, there are certain aspects of the character where I'm like, oh, this is so cute, I love this, I can totally relate to this. And that's what makes acting so hard in general, is anytime you go to an audition, you have to create a character in order to do your job well. But at the same time, that makes it agonizing as you wait to see if they liked it enough to hire you. So it's kind of like, I made a joke once that it was like writing a poem and like giving it to somebody that you love, and you write like, check yes or no if you like it, and then you just wait for that person, and sometimes you never get an answer back, and then sometimes you get the no, and you're like, oh, that sucks. So it's like daily rejection every day. But every character that I've ever auditioned for, whether I've ended up playing them or not, I always have that bond with.
Yeah, sometimes you have to make things up to bond with them. Like, you're not going to bond with every character out there, but you figure out how to connect to them. So even if it's making up some sort of story to get a similar emotion, or thinking back to something that's totally random that made you angry, to get into an angry scene, or you find a connection.
All right, so the second question, this is for you personally. What is your favorite pony?
My favorite pony is Twilight Sparkle.
Shoot, I thought you were going to say Rainbow Dash.
Everybody has told me that I sound like Rainbow Dash, just in my normal existence. I actually went to order at a fast food restaurant, and someone says, girl, girl was like, "Hi, has anyone ever told you that you sound like Rainbow Dash?" And I said, yeah, once or twice." She goes, "'Cause you do. You should get into voice acting." And I said, "Thank you." I said, "Well, unfortunately, Rainbow Dash is already taken, so if that's all I meant to do." And she goes, "I didn't even think about that. That would be so terrible for you." And I said, "Yeah."
All right, and here's my third one. Now this one take it for the team. Now everybody been wondering this, and they put the burden on my shoulders, so go ahead and lift it up. Now the thing is that we've been having theories about Sword Art Online when we first saw it. Okay. Are you familiar with a Japanese horror film called Battle Royale?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Dot Hack?
Yeah.
I am.
Okay, so what happened is everybody said that Sword Art Online is a hybrid between Battle Royale and Dot Hack. We just wondering, where did the real inspirations come from for Sword Art?
Well, I heard the creator speak a little bit about this. He's a gamer. I mean, a hardcore gamer.
He's an otaku? We have talked sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, he plays World of Warcraft, and there was another game that he was really, really into.
League of Legends, I hope.
I'm not sure which one it was, but he's a hardcore gamer, and that's why, you know, a lot of the things throughout the series are very authentic. I mean, they're gaming terms that are used in the show because the creator is a gamer. So I don't know where he got his inspiration for the creation of the game. I mean, I can see, I'm not familiar with the film, but I worked on Dot Hack.
Right.
I'm Shugo in one of the Dot Hack, Legend of the Twilight.
Okay.
And I see how they're similar. I mean, they both go into a game, but they're very, very different as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how he was inspired or where that came from.
Yeah, because I'm about to say, 'cause when I first saw it, right, my friends, we do a bridge series. Have you guys heard of Dragon Ball Z and Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge? Yeah, okay, those guys are my friends. Those guys are my friends, and what happened was that we saw another group did a Sword Art Online, and I posted, and I was like, wait a minute, isn't Sword Art Online a hybrid between Battle Royale and Dot Hack? So, you know, if you lose in the game, your head just, you know, just explode. Yeah, so I just wondered, just to get that theory out of the way, and I'm gonna try to talk to him, you know, do something.
Email Ricky. Email the creator. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Violent shush. Figuring it like.